little more uncomfortable.
You got it. No. We could be. We could totally. We're live, and we're totally close.
Okay.
Lee Stranahan, Patrick Howley. Patrick Howley of National File. Lee Stranahan. You're still doing the fault lines, or?
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Fault lines, RT Network.
Sputnik.
Sputnik. I'm sorry.
Wrong Russian disinformation program. We're Sputnik. This is a face for radio, so I'm not really.
Oh, come on.
Yeah. So I just want to talk about this
You're
event really
classically
quick.
handsome, Mike.
Yeah, but you win in the beard war, so
I've been working on it for a while.
it's fantastic. It's really.
You guys got much fiercer beards than I could ever grow. So
It's almost Russian, I dare say.
It's really the new right now. They're all beards. Everybody's got a beard now.
Ted Cruz.
Yeah.
Ted Cruz is doing it. Yeah.
And it's a lot better, right?
David Letterman.
It's intimidating.
Ted Cruz with the beard is better. And I'm,
Yeah.
I'm
no, I
really
agree.
serious.
I agree.
So, folks, if you didn't know, this is the First Amendment Summit, an emergency summit. It is put on by National File, which is who you are writing for. For my audience, if you are unfamiliar with both these guys, let them introduce themselves. Patrick Howley.
Yes. Well, thanks for having me. I've been an investigative reporter here in D.C. for about 10 years or so, and had the great fortune to work with this man here during the election at Breitbart News, which was very influential at the time. Very big.
At the
big
time,
head.
when we were there.
We're like Seinfeld ex-cast members now. But,
Yeah.
It's good. No, it's National File is doing very well, and so we got together with Alex Jones and some other good people. Nick Fuentes. How hot is this guy, Nick Fuentes, right now? He's
so hot he's banned.
He's banned from CPAC.
Lee Stranahan, how did you get your start in journalism?
So 12 years ago, I was doing comedy, and because I was, at the time, I was a Democrat, and because I was making fun of Republicans, I got on CNN in about a week with my first video, and then I started writing for the Huffington Post. Then I had a chance to interview Andrew Breitbart, who, some people, did you know Andrew Breitbart started the Huffington Post? It was his idea.
No, I didn't know
A
that.
lot of people don't know that.
Yeah.
So it was his idea when he worked for Ariana. So I interviewed Andrew Breitbart. A week later, I was working for him. Then I was the lead investigative reporter over at Breitbart until I left, and I worked for Russia. And it's awesome. It is awesome. I really recommend anybody, seriously. It's the most freedom I've ever had, because as you might get, Patrick, because they're national, they don't actually have the same, they really don't have the same, like, Democrat, Republican, it's not their country, so they actually don't care as much.
Well, I found that with I almost worked for RT myself.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Abby Martin, before she got her show,
Yeah.
wanted me on as the executive producer or whatever. And the guy who was running at the time, Misha, did not like me.
Oh, really?
No, I mean, I said maybe 4 or 5 things in the interview right off the bat. They weren't going to cover medical marijuana at the time, and there were
Yeah.
several other things that he was at odds with. But hey, as far as in the United States, I feel like you get more honesty from networks like Sputnik and RT, mainly because they'll cover things like Assange,
Yeah.
which
Oh,
to me is the First Amendment issue of the day. Patrick, how do you feel about what's going on in that extradition hearing right now?
Well, you know, I saw Cassandra's tape of this guy,
Aaron Schwartz.
Arthur Schwartz.
Arthur Schwartz.
It's the Arthur Schwartz guy from Twitter, correct? The Don Jr. guy
I believe he was the assistant to Grinnell
at the time.
while they were writing up this indictment.
But
That's what
is it the same Arthur Schwartz guy who's on Twitter, that strategist guy, the Republican?
I'm
I
not
think so.
100%.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. Because he worked with Bannon, too.
I don't know what
Our
these
old
people.
boss.
I don't know what these people do, but there's all these operator type people. But no, what's happening to Julian Assange is too bad. It seems like he was offered a deal though, and he didn't take it.
No, absolutely. Well, that's what the lawyers are alleging. That basically, here's the narrative that's out there right now: is that channels were opened up through Kim.com via Dana Rohrabacher to come in. Kim.com actually told Assange to take the deal. Assange's DMs basically say that everything in the public domain is what's out there and already proves his innocence, and that if the Republicans want to go the same route, they can suffer what the Democrats suffered in 2016. Now, after that, and after apparently he denies coming in and giving up that evidence for Seth Rich, that's when Grinnell is brought in to write up this indictment. And on top of that, it seems like the intel community then convinced Trump that some of these documents actually cost lives. Now, this is what their lawyers are putting forth in the last 3 days.
Yeah.
Now, they're also saying that, of course, WikiLeaks did not cost lives, and when David Lee released the encryption key, Julian Assange himself called the White House to warn them that people may be in danger, and the White House did not take that seriously.
Well, but let's without debating that point. Why should I care if somebody publishing something and it's valid and legal to publish cost lives when you're going up against a CIA and military industrial complex that kills innocent people? They have no. These are people. The people we're up against here have no problem killing innocent people, none whatsoever. And so if Patrick or I publish something, let's say we publish something, and it leads to somebody doing something bad to somebody, that's not our fault. There's no motive.
Yeah, important distinction, right? Important thing to say. No more so than J.D. Salinger was responsible for all of the various assassinations, which were CIA assassinations. Poor guy was blamed for his Catcher in the Rye book, right? But yes, no, you're right. That will be the next frontier. They'll start blaming journalists for the actions of people who allegedly read.
Right? No, and can we blame all the violence that occurred during Black Lives Matter, let's say, to the media that was promoting a cop-hating narrative and blah, blah, blah? No. Once you start, there's no principle there. There's literally no principle of like, okay, if somebody publishes something with malice, with intent, right? If whatever. If somebody does that, yes. Okay, now you got a criminal case. But Julian Assange is in jail, and I was out at Belmarsh right after he came out of, they pulled him out of the Ecuadorian embassy. This is an affront to everybody. And one of the guys pushing this is Pompeo, who is nobody's friend. If you're a Trump fan, Mike Pompeo is pushing exactly.
We lied, we cheated, we stole. We had entire courses on it.
Yes.
I agree there. That brings me to my next point. The National Counterintelligence Strategy for 2020 to 2022, which is actually signed off by Trump. In the same sentence you have Hezbollah, Iran, Al-Qaeda, ISIS, public disclosure organizations, okay?
Yeah.
Leaktivists, which is a new word to me, and hacktivists being treated the same way. And I think that's extremely dangerous. Have you not read that document yet?
No.
Please,
I haven't either.
it is 12 pages
So we'll just
long.
look at you.
Listen, it is 12 pages long. My
Probably
audience has
should.
seen it. Yes, listen, it is a must-read, gentlemen. It is 12 pages long. It is less than 2 weeks old. Actually, maybe 3 weeks, because I've been reporting on it since I saw it. But that is in there. And what's even more disturbing to me is, I'm sure you both would agree that Russiagate was entirely bullshit.
Oh yeah.
Fantastic. In the opening letter that the president signs off on, there is a sentence in there about Russia and their ability to make our elections unstable and interfere with them. Why spit the same rhetoric as those who opposed you with those lies?
So here's a narrative to watch for, and it's not just because I'm in them. So the New York Times ran a story the Thursday before last on, anybody can look up Russia, Kansas City, and they're attacking my radio shows now on Kansas City on 102.7, 102.9, 104.7, and 1140 AM. Thank you. So we're in Kansas City now, and they're freaking out about Russian disinformation. I'm quoted, CBS did a piece, I'm quoted. Here's what they're setting up for. They're setting up to ban Sputnik and RT as election disinformation. This is and you can see it by the fact that CBS echoed that piece. So part one is what you're talking about. They're saying, and they're already saying, it's in the New York Times right now, the Russian interference in 2020 is going to be disinformation. Hello, that would be me, because I work for Sputnik. But nobody tells me what to do. I set up the editorial for the show. I challenge any reporter to embed themselves with my show and get up at 5 in the morning and see that we plan the show. We don't get a call from Putin, nothing. And so I'm an American journalist who happens to work for a Russian government-funded entity, and we don't do disinformation, but you watch, and that's going to be used. It's the same way they got Alex, and everybody. You got to be worried about the censorship right now, Pat.
Yeah, we're having a whole summit about it. It's
Yeah.
not good.
Yeah.
It's very bad.
So you I had not been aware of National File since I saw this. Is this a relatively new operation? And
Yeah,
is it
we
coming
started
together?
it a few weeks ago.
Okay. So what was the genesis of that, Patrick?
Tom is kind of my I don't know. He's my good friend. I wouldn't say protege because he's grown into his own by all means. But he started this a few weeks ago, and I decided to jump on board. And it's a good place to report on the many things I report on, be it Jeffrey Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell, who's kind of the Carmen Sandiego now of.
You don't even want to get me going, brother.
Where in the world is she? And all of these various kind of interrelated human trafficking kinds of stories. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about that tonight. And
So you're talking about the Slither Circle, huh? Have you seen the reports that Weinstein may also commit suicide, like Epstein? That they're actually warning that now?
No,
Those were headlines.
Weinstein's on a good fitness regimen. He can walk again.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
a
it's
miracle.
unbelievable.
Hallelujah, Harvey.
Hey, I thought he was walking out of there and not in cuffs, I'll be honest. Even the 5 to 29 that he's looking at was a win for me. I didn't think he was going anywhere. I thought at best he was going to get a wiener slap on the wrist, 15 months at a resort, and then he could come back here and sell us legal marijuana in New York State and be part of that.
Right.
That's awesome.
And can we just sort of picture? I think this will make you smile and feel good. Can you
See,
picture?
reporters I discover roll in a Hawaiian shirt unbuttoned.
Who?
That's no suit and tie for our crew. Here.
Who is it?
No
Is it
suit
one of
and
yours?
tie for our crew.
But can you imagine the first time in the shower when Harvey Weinstein behind him hears, "You look squishy like a girl."
Listen, I'm not calling for
I'm just
violence
saying.
or
No,
anything.
I'm not talking about
But-
violence. I'm talking about love.
I'm just saying that criminals of that nature belong with other high-level criminals. They don't deserve resort treatment. They don't deserve to be beyond justice. Members of the predator class should be treated like the same as the rest of us. And obviously the Epstein debacle is just insane. You're going to be talking about it?
Yeah.
That's
definitely.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to send you that counterintelligence report too,
Good.
Howley.
Send me.
I'm going to send. Well, give me
I'm
your number,
going to.
Stranahan.
I will. Yeah.
I don't think he killed himself. I don't know about you.
Well, here's the thing. You know, my
Believe it or
audience
not.
knows this, but the FBI knew about Epstein all the way back in 1996 from Maria Farmer. He also molested her younger sister, Annie Farmer, who was underage at the time. Went to the FBI all the way back in 1996. We don't see law enforcement get involved until 2007, right? 2007, 2008 with the Palm Beach investigation. That goes almost nowhere. Bradley Edwards, who's attacked by Epstein, and he tried to get him disbarred, gets sued by Epstein. He then countersues. That trial takes almost 10 years to not take place. Ends the day that jury selection begins. Epstein signs off on a paragraph statement essentially saying Bradley Edwards was right, did everything in his power, and never did anything illegal, got paid an undisclosed sum as they held a press conference in front of hundreds of thousands of documents where his lawyer, Jack Scarola, said that Weinstein is part of that same Slither Circle, folks.
But let me ask you guys both this, since you've both been covering the Epstein thing. I've been covering it too. How convinced are you that it is in a largely Israeli intelligence blackmail operation done on U.S. soil, that from someone who's...
I'd say it goes beyond that. That's
Ghislaine-
only part of it. Listen, I think the Mossad stuff is absolutely real. With Vicky Ward talking about his relationship with Adnan Khashoggi, who was the arms dealer in Iran-Contra, what people don't understand about that is that those arms were coming in from Czechoslovakia, but being given to Israel, so that they had what? Plausible deniability. Those weapons would go from Israel to South America, and then they would get paid out from the drugs that came from South America into the United States, all funneled through BCCI banking, which Bill Barr helped cover up with Robert Mueller. Look it up, all before he was the Attorney General of George H.W. Bush.
And let's throw in, since you're mentioning the Czechoslovakia connection, Ghislaine Maxwell's father, Robert Maxwell, was a Mossad agent.
100%.
And one of the richest people in the world.
A media mogul.
A media mogul, yes. And again, as soon it was when I was not paying attention to the Epstein story for a long time. Then when I heard Maxwell was involved, I got immediately interested, because I'm interested in Maxwell and that whole network, which includes a guy named Bill Browder, who I talk about all the time.
Yep, I know Browder.
Browder, okay, so Bill Browder's first mentor was Robert Maxwell. He worked for Maxwell. So this is like I say. I mean, but on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being sure, because I'm at about a 9, that this is an largely Israeli blackmail operation being done on U.S. soil that Epstein was part of.
I wouldn't say largely. I would say it was definitely part of it. But like all these intelligence assets, right? They do business, and there's so many double and triple crossing.
Yeah,
right?
but all his connections are. I agree.
Many of his connections absolutely are.
I believe 10, but also it was CIA and MI6.
Yeah, no,
I think so too.
No, I agree with that. But my whole point is when you look at the mega group, when you look at his connection to Ehud Barak, I mean,
But Ehud Barak is the man that also suggested Black Cube, the private Israeli firm, to Weinstein. Yet another connection in that slither circle.
And by the way, you know how all that Israeli military gear is funded is us. That is U.S. The U.S. funnels the money over there. Then they're using them like they're James Bond. I'm not even joking.
Well, let's talk about that money.
That's why Promise. Promise
software.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Promise. All right. So
I say it Promise. Is that,
it is Promise software.
Okay,
I've been doing it for a long time. Promise, Carnivore come out of that same time for surveillance. Here's the problem with that. I think the guy was also laundering money. And I know you got to go soon.
I know.
Laundering money big time. For instance, when his lawyers put in that his fortune was worth $540 million, the judge did not believe that. The media then began to run the story that he was not a billionaire. 2 weeks ago, we found out about a $60 million account that they did not know that money was still moving through. I believe not only blackmail, obviously that operation, but also money laundering. Money laundering is huge. Arms dealing. Prince Andrew is the UK's largest arms dealer.
But go and take money laundering to one other thing, which is the use of offshore banks, offshore banking, and little tax schemes between the Isle of Man or whatever. That whole network, that's what they do. It is basically making money off of money in thievy, scammy ways, where they get laws changed here or there or whatever. And of course, it's tied into it has to be tied into blackmail because it's gangsterism. That's what it is.
Fair.
And
it is gangsterism. Absolutely. These are the high-level predator class gangsters that feel they're above the law. Patrick,
I love it.
since you got, I'm sweaty, but very good to meet you. Would you like to
have coronavirus?
I hope not. I know I'm all clammy. I can jack it on.
Good to see you.
I have
Are you going to stick around for the event? Are you going to listen to my act here?
No, I'm speaking for
Good.
a minute.
So, guys, I'm going to
I'll
wrap
make
this
it
up.
count.
I'm gonna be live. Hopefully, they're gonna let me live stream the event. I know you guys wanted cameras and stuff there, so we're gonna live stream the event. Each individual person, I'm gonna try to get my film crew, film stuff in there. I don't have a crew, but it's in about an hour. So hey, we're here. If you're in the DC region, you're not gonna find a better event tonight on a Wednesday. I can promise you that.
But also, I'm going to say this: Patrick Howley, follow him on Twitter because he has been taking on. You're doing what. I'll just say it. Nobody's got the guts to do. Very few people have the guts to take on some of the big personalities and the big names.
Especially Child Protective Services. Yeah, that's really the one that's coming after me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no, that's something we should talk more about that actually.
Yeah. But you really have been, because there's this. I'll say it. The most dangerous media organization to Trump is Fox News, hands down, because it's the one he listens to. And so they give him mostly good information, and they just tilt it away right at the last second.
Tucker's been good, man. I'll give Tucker the
Tucker's
best.
awesome. Tucker's the best thing on Fox.
And I don't agree with him on everything, but hey, he's the only one talking about the OPCW report. He's the only one talking about what's going on in
and he's
Syria
a good
right
guy.
now.
Andrew loved Tucker.
Okay.
And Andrew really did. And Tucker Carlson is the real deal. He's a good guy. So people should know that.
All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up and let these guys go. Thumbs this video up, sub, and share. We'll see you on the flip side.
All right. Thank you, my friend.